What's up, everybody? Got a little spare time today, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this heater valve, and then I might go ahead and tackle the radiator too. I will have to lift the car up for the radiator. There's 2 bolts and I think there's a power wire that attaches to the fan, so I'll have to go lift the car up and get underneath to get those. But besides that, everything on the radiator should be able to be done from up top. So we'll go ahead and start on this heater valve for now, though. I'm gonna go ahead and start by draining the coolant out first. So I'll put a bucket under here, and we're actually looking right down on the passenger side of the radiator. There's a drain chuck, and you just pull that open, petcock, whatever you want to call it. So get that draining. This one's either a filter or 10 millimeter comes filtered. Okay, so this should actually be pretty simple. You've got one hose on the bottom, one hose on the side, and then it's held in with a 10 millimeter bolt down here. For this little control line, I'm just going to push up on that, and that's going to release the line, and then you just pull up on that. You got that loose. So now we'll just do the 2 hoses and then the 10 millimeter bolt that's underneath there. Not really sure what's up with this hose clamp. Looks like there's a clip in here, and then somehow I gotta take that out, so I'll be replacing that. I actually have never come across a clip like this before, so I'm gonna try to take this cotter pin out first, I guess. You'll find a different way to approach it. So I think for this one, what I'm actually going to do is pull it at the heater core here, and then I'll take it off with the valve and deal with that on the workbench. Go ahead and do this bottom one first. These are not. I think I'll probably replace all these clamps. I don't like them. This might be rather difficult. Heater core hoses are always hard to get off. Well, I guess the 10 millimeter bolt wasn't on there. There should be a 10 millimeter bolt right here. Looks like that's where your 10mm would be. Alright, here's the old one. I'm just going to go ahead and replace this hose and these clamps. I've got a bit of hose and some clamps here for it. Here's a new one. I decided to go with 4 Seasons. I did a lot of research on this and it appears to be a good one, so we'll go with this one. Here's your part number for you. So I went ahead and got a 10mm bolt for the spot that it sits on, but I'm looking at this and it's been painted. I don't think it's ever had a bolt on it. I might go ahead and add that on there just to give it a little support, but I don't think it's needed, just so you know. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a try. I put a new clamp on this lower hose too. Figure it's best just to go ahead and replace them all. I personally like spring clamps better, but I don't have any right now, so. Let's use 8mm. Yeah, check that with him. Okay. And to get this line on, same thing, just push up on that clip. Flip it over. Put your line through. Flip this back over. Make sure that line goes in the hole, in the bump for it there. This is hard to do on camera. Can't find the slit now. Hang on, I can't do this. Okay, so just get your line set in there, and then we'll go ahead and tighten that 10mm down. And that's the heater control valve. So I decided while I was doing the radiator, I found this has rust on it, and I'm gonna take this piece out and go ahead and paint it, clean it up and then paint it, because it's seriously the only part on the engine that has rust to it, so I'm going to take care of that while I'm doing the radiator. I think with that off, I'll actually be able to reach the wire connector there, and also the bolt that is right down there holding the fan shroud in. So I think I'm just going to do everything from up top here. It'll be, I won't have to lift the car that way, but normally you just lift the car. There's that one wire connector there, and then there's a bolt there and a bolt down on the bottom on this side. Both are going to be easily accessible from up top. One's right there, so I think I'll just do it that way. So you can see how rusty that is. It's kind of weird because it's the only thing that's rusty, and I did all the motor mounts and stuff too, so I'm like, you know, I might as well just paint it. But I'm going to take that out. You really wouldn't need to if you get the bolts from underneath, but if you're going from up top like I am, it would actually help you to take this out. So and yours, if you're running a 97, it's probably rusty too, so might as well pull it out and paint it. Clean that up too. Might clean that up and maybe hit that up too. Clean that up with a little bit of WD-40. There's no rust on it, so I'm not going to worry about that. It's all going to be covered up by the battery tray and all that anyway, but there's no rust on it, so I'm not going to paint that. But if yours was rusty, you might decide to. So there's two wiring harnesses you're going to want to deal with. One is down, let me turn my, there we go. One is down here on the side of the driver's side of the radiator. You just pull that apart, and then again there's one bolt that's down there. If you go from underneath, it's more easily accessible along as the lower hose. I might end up pulling the lower hose from here and taking it out with the radiator. And then you've also got this O2 sensor harness here, which is clipped into the fan shroud, so you'll need to pull that out as well. You could leave the O2 sensor connected if you probably don't have your exhaust out, so you can leave the O2 sensor connected and just take it out from here. So for this clip, if you twist it around, you'll find this, and you just push down on that piece inside there and pull them apart. Okay, so the 4 bolts on the fan shroud are 10mm. Alright, once you get the fan shroud out, depending on if your car's auto or manual, you might have 2 transmission lines that go in there, and then you've got the lower hose. Depending on how the clamps are, you may have to go from underneath to be able to get to those clamps, or work around them from up here. Luckily, I can get to the 2 transmission clamps, but I'm gonna take the lower hose off from up here because the clamp on that one is pointed down. So I'll just take it off from up here and take it out with the radiator. when you do these transmission lines, I like to pinch them closed. I have radiator hose clamps, or flat channel locks work good too. But that way you're not dripping too much transmission fluid. Just remember to top off your transmission when you're done with all this. That's something I might not show on camera, so just remember, because you're dripping transmission fluid, so make sure that transmission fluid gets topped off. So I have this style hose clamp, and then I also have a pair of channel locks. These work just fine, both of them. There are different kinds too that you can get, but that way you don't drip too much transmission fluid. If you can't break the hoses free, you can twist them with a pair of pliers, and that'll kind of break them free a little bit. And they get stuck with time. I'm not gonna lie, those transmission lines were rather difficult to get off, and they might actually be a little bit easier to do from underneath, but got those off, and I'm gonna do the lower hose here. I'm just gonna pull it off from up here and take it out with the radiator. Alright, the last thing's holding it in should be these two little 12mm bolts here in these brackets. Alright, so now you're going to compare your radiator. Don't forget to transfer your little feet. If they're not on your radiator, they're going to be in the car. So pull those out and transfer them over to your new radiator. You want to make sure that everything on your old radiator matches up with your new radiator. Check out the condition of your radiator. I got a couple little pushed in fins, but it's not that bad, so it should be okay. I went with this one. It's Mishimoto. It had really good reviews and it was cheap, so I decided to go with this one, trying to do this kind of build on a little budget here. So this is what we got. Here's the part number for you. And again, it had good reviews on it, so I went ahead with this one. But everything matches up. Make sure it's got new nuts in here. If it doesn't, you'll want to take the ones out of there and transfer them over to there. So I went ahead and put the little rubber feet down back in the car, and I'll just line the radiator up to that when I drop it in there. I did transfer everything over, including the lower hose. Be careful not to bang it up on stuff because you don't really want to bend up these fins. Just line your feet, drop those into place. I like to anchor it in before I do the transmission lines. It gives it a little more support when I'm pushing on it. Boy, they sure go on a lot easier than they come off. Alright, so now you just reinstall your fan, 2 wire connectors, upper hose, and then you'll install your reservoir back up. I'm not going to do mine now because like I said, I'm going to paint that bracket for it. So and I'm actually considering adding an air intake, so I might leave it open anyway just so I can kind of take a look at this a little better. They don't actually make an air intake for this 97 Corolla for some reason. They have lots of generic ones, which is what I'll probably end up going with if I want to, but they don't make an actual setup for this car. So I want to look at it a little bit and see what I want to get. I'm not going to fill and burp the system today either, of course, because I don't have the reservoir on for one, but I'm going to wait on that for a little bit because I'm also going to do the oil pan, so I'm going to do the oil and all that stuff too, so I'll do all that at the same time. But this is where I'm at so far. I've got the exhaust off, got the new radiator in, got the new heater valve in. I did get the new muffler. Hang on, let me show you guys. So I kind of flashed this before. This is the header kit. I got the header and the downpipe. Then I went ahead and got our new cat because I kind of think it's a little clogged up. The throttle response was a little slow. So we'll put that on too. And then I got the HK5 muffler. I watched a couple videos on it and it sounded alright. And a client of mine put this in as RAV4 and I really like the way it sounds. It also has the silencer, which I think I'll end up taking out anyway because I don't want that rattle can sound. But I think she's really going to like the exhaust that's going to go in here. The pipe from the cat back to the muffler will be custom made by my shop neighbor. We're going to bump up to 2-inch from the cat to the muffler. It's 1.75 inch I think normally, so that'll open it up a little bit more. and I think it's going to be pretty nice. So that's where I'm at so far. It's coming along nicely. Got a few other things that we're going to do. Like I said, I'm talking about possibly doing the intake. I really don't like the generic ones, but I do like it opens up the sound a little bit better. It makes it more throaty. So I might end up doing that, even though they don't make a specific one for this car. Not without spending a ton of money anyway. And like I said, I'm trying to do this on a budget. So for now, I'm leaving the rest of this opened up because there's still some things that I want to do here. I definitely want to do the driver's side axle. I definitely found some play in that, and I'm actually a little concerned it might be in the transmission and not the axle. But I'm going to give the axle a try first. If I end up having to swap the transmission, then you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. If it comes down to that. I'm hoping it won't, but we'll see. I'm almost ready to order the lights and that back plate. I hit a little stumble. I had to hold up on those. An unexpected bill came up, so I had to take care of that. But just about ready to order those and that back plate for back there where the Corolla is. And then there's a few other things that we'll be looking at. I've started looking at some subwoofers, possible stereos, and a couple other things like that. So I also want to change her washer fluid eyes, so I'll show you guys how to do that too, because they just stream, they don't spray. So I'll take care of those for her too. I think that's where I'm at right now. I have a couple other plans, but we'll get into that in a future time. Hope you guys are enjoying this. No, it's kind of boring, but you get some learning experience out of it too if it's something that you're looking to do for yourself. And like I said, I'm doing this kind of on a budget, so give you an idea on how to get some cheaper parts. But awesome. We'll see you guys on the next one.